there's so much hype around AI. Every business is throwing AI into their product. Every
Yes.
business wants to adopt AI in their business. The question I have is AI genuinely actually improving like everyday tech? Or is it just hot air, hype, over marketing, everyone just jumping on the bandwagon of AI this, AI that?
Why do we need that? Why do we need a robot vacuum or a vacuum, just like a stick vacuum that has AI? I don't need that. I don't need
Yeah.
it to connect to the internet. I just need it to vacuum the floors.
Yeah, I just need to suck.
Yeah.
Xbox especially raised their prices. It's crazy. I think they've discounted theirs, which is nice.
Yeah. They've discounted it to the original MSRP.
Oh, classic Black Friday move, dude.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So dumb.
I've had a lot of friends that have said, "Hey, I'm ready to like build my PC. Here's my part list." And I've kind of consulted on like the parts list and like, "Hey, I'll walk you through it. I'll be happy to help you build it." And then they just buy a pre-built anyway. I'm like, "Well, at least you got a PC."
So tonight is besides the festive wear from me, we're going to be going through some common questions that people have about tech, and we're going to be answering those and just giving our insights and thoughts and feedback.
Good evening, everyone. This is the BedTech Show. Ben, what do we've got going on tonight?
Okay, today's gonna be a fun one. Tonight's gonna be a fun one. So I had to dress up as, Buddy the Elf. People love it. I even got my hat. So
Oh, nice.
throw this guy on.
Well, you know, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
Yeah. Dude, my one of the scenes that just like makes me so cringe is when the mom tries to sing and she's so bad at
Oh, yeah.
singing in that movie. She's so
Yes.
bad. Um anyway, back to the podcast. So tonight is besides the festive wear from me, we're going to be going through some common questions that people have about tech, and we're going to be answering those and just giving our insights and thoughts and feedback. And hopefully this, sparks some curiosity, maybe answer some of the questions you might be having as you listen. And maybe this is not a question you're experiencing now, but maybe you will in the future. So hopefully you can turn to this as a resource. Happy to answer more questions. If you have them, feel free to send us questions, comment your questions, whatever it might be. We love getting them and we love answering them. So we're going to go through a list of questions here. Ethan, do you want to start off with the first one?
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, it's Christmas time. People may be thinking about gaming. Um, a pre-built PC or custom PC or a console.
Good question.
Ah,
That's a good question.
so
Which one do you get?
so for me, it depends. Um, for
Fair.
for me, I love tinkering. I love taking things apart, putting them together, figuring out how they all work, troubleshooting, that stuff. That that just brings me joy and
Mhm.
frustration all at the same time. So for me, I love the idea of a custom PC because you can kind of tailor it to exactly what you want. I've had a lot of friends that have said, "Hey, I'm ready to like build my PC. Here's my part list." And I've kind of consulted on like the parts list and like, "Hey, I'll walk you through it. I'll be happy to help you build it."
Mm.
And then they
Mhm.
just buy a pre-built anyway. I'm like, "Well, at least you got a PC." Um,
Yeah.
one friend in particular just bought a gaming laptop in our immediate friends group.
Nice.
But
And it choose to build it, huh?
yeah, I didn't choose to build that. I mean, we kind of went through everything and then he just went for a gaming laptop. Yeah, a
Oh,
little disappointing, but at least he's got a gaming laptop.
yeah, it's true.
But then there's also the console for people that just want a kind of plug and play solution, which
Mm.
I do love about consoles because I mean, really, they are plug and play. Um, and aside from the rising prices as of recently, that's generally not a bad way to get really just if you want to solely get into gaming and that's all you want, console's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Xbox especially raised their prices. It's crazy. I think they've discounted theirs, which is nice.
Yeah, they've discounted it to the original MSRP.
Classic Black Friday move, dude.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So dumb. Mm.
But yeah, so for me, I'd go with the custom PC. Um, but the other two options are really great, kind of depending on what your angle is and what you're going for. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, good insight there. I think you're very valid in saying it depends because I think it depends on who the person is that's receiving this device or this, I don't know, technology. I don't know. Technology is probably too general of a term. Um, but anyway, receiving the hardware, whoever's receiving the hardware, it kind of depends on them. Also, I feel like also budget might come into play. Um, and if you're a casual gamer and that's all you're going to be doing, maybe console's the way to go because it's easy, quick, plug and play, like you're saying. Um, it's the cheapest way to game, I think. It's getting to the point where it may not be the cheapest, but as of now, I think it still is. Um, like for the performance that you get. I think pre-builts are good for people who want more functionality than gaming and they just want reliable performance and they don't have to think about building and they don't have to think about tinkering and they don't have to worry about anything. They just like, I don't care. I just want something that's going to give me good stuff and that's reliable. And so maybe budget's not, maybe budget is in a factor, but if budget is a factor, you're not going to have like the best performance that you could do if you were to customize it. Um, and if budget isn't a factor and you don't really care, then you can kind of blow whatever money you want on like a pre-built. That's crazy wild. But it's gonna be more expensive. Now, if you really want to get into gaming and you really want to have a cool PC, yeah, for sure, custom PC is the way to do it. Best performance per dollar, I think. And you'll know how to upgrade it as years go by. So there's a lot of flexibility with custom PC. I think it just takes more effort. I think if there's parents listening and they're like, oh, what do I get my kid? If you're not super techie, probably console or pre-built. Um, if your kid isn't techie, then I would say those two. But if you both want to be techie, then maybe build a custom PC together. That'd be fun. Cool, fun, parent child's build. But yeah,
Yeah,
those are my thoughts.
my first PC I built it with my 3-year-old daughter at the time, and she had a blast doing it.
That's cool.
So
Like Legos, but for adults.
yeah,
Even though Legos are for adults, but you know what I mean.
yeah, and the stakes are higher.
Yeah, a little bit pricier.
Yes, yeah, those are great points. So I think yeah, it kind of all depends on um, what your market is and kind of what your budget is and how much you're willing to tinker.
So just to make sure I understand, your personal preference and what you've done is you were console, but now it's pre-built or not pre-built. Now it's custom PC.
Yep. Yeah. What was console for the longest time? Till about 3 years ago, I built first PC, and then I wanted to rebuild my PC, and that rebuild just ended up turning into a new build. Because I think the only thing that I carried over from my original PC was the RAM. So
Gotcha. All right.
yeah, it was kind of a brand new build. But yeah, custom PC for me. And I really didn't know anything about it other than watching YouTube videos before. So I was a little nervous, but with how many videos there are on YouTube and how many great resources, it it's not as bad as you think it's going
I
to
think it's a good point you make. I think people can do it. It's not as complex as maybe they think. And there's kind of ways, there's all in between. Like you can build it yourself, like ground up. You're doing the screws, you're doing the placement, you're doing the wiring and all that stuff. You're picking the parts. Or you can go pre-built, totally pre-built. That's like you just go to Costco, you buy the PC. or you can do something in between where you're working with someone who's going to build it for you, but like you're picking the parts. You're talking to them about, what you want to do with it. You're talking about what kind of RAM you need and what kind of graphics you need and stuff like that. And then they'll do the actual building of it for you, but you're the one that's kind of customized the PC to your specs. And so there's flexibility there. I think it's important for people to realize, you don't have to just go to Best Buy or Costco and just buy a PC outright.
Yeah.
So that's a
iBuy
good question.
Power is not the only option.
Yes. Um, yeah, I think that's a good question. Let's see. I got another question.
Yeah.
And I think you would be able to provide some insight here because I have been trying to figure this out myself. What's the real difference between OLED and LCD screens and TVs?
Ooh. Okay. So, from my understanding, LCD means liquid crystal display. Um, OLED means organic light emitting diode. So they're two different panel types. LCD screens, they have from my understanding, they have like a panel that has the light that emits the backlight for the entire panel. And so it's a very uniform lighting type of display. It's an older technology, so it's more mature than OLED. OLED's more recent. With OLED, each pixel has its own lighting array, from my understanding. So you can have individual lighting and dimming zones on the panel, which makes
Hmm.
for greater contrast in your image.
Yeah.
Um, with OLEDs, one of the key things with that is that you get better clarity in your visuals as well better response time. So for gaming, if you need those split second um, response times for your frames and everything, OLED generally does have a faster response rate, which could aid you in your gaming experience. It won't make you a better gamer because I don't think any amount of technology will make you a better gamer. It just makes your experience better.
Yeah.
One of the downsides with OLED is that they are extremely expensive. They are coming down in price. They're kind of coming more down to a reasonable price with this latest round of Black Friday sales.
Yeah,
But
I noticed that. That's
uh,
nice.
which is nice. And so, if anyone's wanting to get into OLED, now's probably a good time to start thinking about. And I know as technology goes further and further, most likely it'll come down in price, and we should be able to see them come to um, prices that are built for consumers rather than YouTube. And
Yeah.
for me, I would love an OLED screen. Um, However, I don't have one because I there was there is not an OLED screen in the format that I need.
That's right. That's right. I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, my poor life decisions a couple of years ago. There wasn't an OLED in that format, and I still don't think there is an OLED in this format.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still trying to learn the differences between OLED and LCD. I'm pretty sure I'm like 99% sure I don't have OLED, mainly because I know I don't have the budget on my end. Still, the TVs I have, I feel like are really quality and nice. With that being said, you can definitely tell the differences with OLED. When you go to an electronics store, you can see the differences there. Also, the Nintendo Switch did an OLED upgrade, I think a year ago or so before the Nintendo Switch 2 came out. Maybe it was 2 years ago now. And you could notice the difference there, which was kind of surprising for me. But with that being said, I think OLED provides a lot better of an image. Like you were saying, like better contrast. But I read this thing like OLED has what's called perfect blacks,
Mhm.
which allows the contrast to be better because it's like a perfect black instead of just like a darker, not maybe it's not a perfect black, but it's like a darker image.
Yeah, because with that, there's like no light at all
Yeah.
coming through in that specific area of the panel. So you
Yeah.
get that perfect light.
And
Whereas,
because it's high. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, because whereas like an LCD or mini LED TV, uh, even though like it's black on the screen, you still have that backlight There's
Yep.
still some amount of light, so it's not quite.
Yeah. And you were mentioning how it's individualized on the OLED. And so each one can go to a perfect black state. Right. Um, so that's really cool. Yeah, I personally, do you think OLED is worth the money and the upgrade?
Ooh, probably not now.
Hmm.
It
Okay.
might be in a couple of years, but right now I don't think the price to performance on that is kind of at an equal level.
Yeah. And do you
Uh,
think not, do you say not now and maybe in the future because you think price will come down, or do you think because performance and feature set will be better for OLED in the future?
yes, to both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah, I think as of right now, they're becoming more reasonable, but I don't think if somebody's on a budget and wanting to like maximize um, price to performance on that, I don't think OLED is in that category. I think it's more if you have the extra money in your budget, um, that's what that's what you can spend.
Yeah, I agree. I also think if you are a big visual buff and a big like TV, movie, show buff, and you like spend a lot of time watching on a TV, then maybe an OLED is worth it for you because you notice the visuals different. Or you notice the visuals differently, or they jump out at you more. To me, on a personal level, I notice a difference, but it doesn't make significant of a difference where I'm like, wow, I really need the OLED. This LCD or mini LED is not doing it for me. I watch my TVs and I'm like, wow, these are really good pictures. These are really good visuals. I like the contrast and the colors. And so I don't really see the need to really spend that much more money on an OLED. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that OLED's great, but if it's price is kind of what you're worrying about, probably OLED is not the best avenue yet, but will make your gaming and watching experience better.
Yep. Yep. I agreed. What's the next one, Ethan? What do you got?
All right. Do phones and computers still slow down over time in 2025?
Ooh.
And I am going to say yes to that because I think, especially phones do, and with
Yeah.
Apple phones, because they are savages, they purposely slow your phone down to preserve your battery. Um, and for the longest time, Apple didn't have that feature in their settings where you could turn that off. But they were purposefully slowing down your hardware to preserve your battery life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think for me, I think like looking at this, I think, as components have more heat running through them and life cycles, I do think that they do begin to degrade over time. Especially I noticed like with computers, you kind of have to, if you do notice like your CPU starting to slow down, it's probably um, the thermal paste in between your CPU cooler
Yeah.
and your CPU that's kind of degrading, and you might need to reapply some thermal paste for that app to help it transfer that. And so, especially with phones where there's not a lot of ways to dissipate that heat, you know, it that it's there, and especially with batteries, they definitely degrade over time. So, I think they do. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think they do as well for the reasons you listed, but I also think I think over time you get software updates, you get system app updates, you get multiple apps running, background apps running, they accumulate data and storage fills up and accumulates. And so it takes longer to process through all the data that's on the storage if you're like querying something. And so I think over time, you have memory, data, storage being filled up, and that slows down processing, in my opinion. And I also think over time the hardware degrades. Battery or the thermal paste or whatever it might be. Um, I think it degrades. And so yeah, I phones and computers definitely slow down over time. I still think they do. I don't think that'll ever go away. Um, unless we come up with some kind of technology that will allow for, I don't know, progressive development of the actual hardware, which I don't think will ever happen, at least not in
Yeah.
our day and age.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they do slow down over time. I think we all have seen that and experienced it, at least those of us who have had technology for many years. Um, we had phones that were 4 or 5 years old, and we just upgraded them maybe a month ago, 2 months ago, and we noticed
You
like
held
our
on to your
phones.
phones for 4 years?
Yeah, we
That
did.
that's an impressive feat.
Yeah, all paid off. I still have it actually. Yeah, this is my look. This is my old one.
Oh, nice.
This is my new one. I had the XR, I think, Max, and now I have the 17 Max. So, or maybe it wasn't the XR Max. I had the XR Max, and then maybe this is the 13. I think that's the 13 Max.
No.
So 4 years. Um, anyway, my point is they slow down over time. I could tell with my 13 it was slowing down. And same with my wife. And the battery was just horrible.
Atrocious.
So
Yeah.
yeah, real bad. So yeah. But that kind of leads to the next one with like me and we're talking about me and upgrading phones. Do you think, and this is a question that we have listed that's commonly asked, like, do you think upgrading your phone every year is a scam? And
Wholeheartedly,
I think
yes.
I think everyone agrees, yes. But still people do it and they fall into these traps of like, oh, I'm on this plan where it allows me to upgrade every year. It's like, bro, you're just throwing money at these
Yeah.
companies. Like, get a phone, pay it off, stick with it for years, and then when you start to see it actually degrade, then you can upgrade, you
Yeah.
know? But like, you don't need a new phone every year. Let's be, and like all the bash that we've done in the past on this podcast of like, there's no upgrades, there's no legitimate upgrades. You get a new camera and a longer battery, and that's it, maybe, you know?
Yeah.
What else are you getting? Not really anything. So, yeah, I think it's a scam. Tell me what else did I miss there? Why else is it a scam in your
No,
eyes?
it's a scam, and I've fallen for it for years because this is the first year that I haven't gotten a new phone.
Yeah, it's easy to do. It's easy to
Yeah.
do, you know?
And I mean, I applied the girl math for that. So it's like, okay, well, I can turn my old phone in and that cuts in like half the price. So it's really only half the price of the phone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um that was that was always my justification for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really incremental upgrades. And now as I've as I've gotten a little bit older and my frontal cortex is fully formed now, I I am of the opinion that, unless um unless your tools are like hindering like your phone is hindering you from being
Mm,
as productive as possible, you don't need to upgrade. I,
yeah.
if the new one is going to help you be faster or more efficient or better, um, or it's going to better your life, then sure, go for it. But until then, I don't think you need to upgrade.
I
So
agree.
it's
100%.
definitely not every year.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. 100%. Yeah. I think only upgrade when your phone battery is like really bad, like not even lasting you a day. Your storage is full, but even then you can buy more storage, like cloud storage. And so like that's not even like a valid reason to buy a new one. Or if like your operating system support ends, your OS support ends, and like the software upgrades no longer are applicable to your phone, and so your phone's being outdated. But yeah, I think we can all agree that upgrading your phone every year is a scam.
Yeah. And same with like PC stuff too. I mean, like if you're into gaming, then unless you like the games you are playing are struggling to run, you don't need to upgrade.
Yeah.
Once they're struggling to run, then probably an upgrade is in your future and maybe work. But until then, if your game is running great, that's all you need.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I agree.
Um, Kind of like on that same vein, are flagship phones overpriced status symbols,
Mm.
or are they worth the hype?
Yeah, I have some thoughts on this. I think mostly yes, they are status symbols and overpriced. With that being said, I do think it is their quality products and I use them every day and they provide so much convenience to my life. So maybe the overpriced aspect, I say that in a way of like as a consumer, like a maybe uh disheartened consumer that I'm not seeing the innovation upgrades that I want. And like, oh, they're overpriced because this is nothing really different from what I've seen in the past. I think they're overpriced, but not by a lot because of the convenience and so much value it brings me in my life. With that being said, I think flagship phones are a status symbol. Like I have Apple phones, but already know that other phones have such better functionality and feature set and aren't as expensive. But yet I keep the Apple phone mainly because in America, I do think it's like it kind of is like a little status symbol, you
Mhm.
know? Um, and I think there's a lot of people who have the same mindset of like, I don't want to have like a Microsoft phone or like a Samsung phone. You're kind of the weird person if you have one of those, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, I don't want to add you to my group text if you don't have an Apple phone. You know what I mean? Um, but I will also say, I don't know if you've heard of this company. Um, I want to say it's called Nothing.
Oh yeah, the nothing phone.
Yeah, yeah. Um, all their technology, not just their phone, but like the tech that they come out is so awesome and it's pretty affordable
Yeah.
relative to the competition, which blows my mind because they have like earbuds, headphones, over-ear headphones, they have phones, they've got watches, and I'm like, dude, they
They've
have
got a whole
such
ecosystem.
a whole ecosystem, dude. And their feature sets are like pretty sick. Um, they can do a lot of what you're already doing on your phones, and they're a fraction of the cost, like half the cost or a third of the cost, which is crazy. Um, the designer, the owner, co-founder, and designer, he's a really smart dude, and he just strips away all the crap that he doesn't feel like you need, and he just provides like the essentials, and he provides it at a quality and fair price, you know?
Mhm.
So I do think like the current flagship phones are more of like a status symbol. Um, I think there's a lot of other technology out there that's as good, maybe better, for less expensive. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, you know, as I look at Apple's lineup for phones this year, their
Yeah.
their top of the line phone is probably the best phone with features that they've ever released. Um, it it hits all the marks. It's got a great battery life, great camera, great screen, um, and it's like the most pro phone that they've released so far. However, um, I know for myself, I don't use near all of the features for that type of
Yeah.
a phone to
Yeah.
justify me paying for that. And for 99% of the people in the world, probably the base iPhone 17 is all that they would need and all they would ever want. And
Yeah.
it has a lot of the features that the Pro phone had last year.
Yeah.
Um, it has the 120 hertz refresh rate, um, which is wonderful.
Hmm.
Going for like coming from a 60 hertz phone, going to that, you're just like, wow,
Yeah.
this is wonderful. How did I
Super
ever
quick
not have 120 hertz?
for sure.
And so I think like for 99% of users that's the phone that they need. However, if you look at what actually sells, 99% of the phones that actually sell are the Pro model. So, and I think it's more so a case of people just going in, hey, I want the biggest phone with the biggest battery life. And so that
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
So it I think it's kind of like all all of us as consumers kind of falling for marketing and just going with what's the most expensive, and
Yeah.
equating that with the best.
Agreed. Agreed. Most expensive means, oh, it must have all the best features and the best of everything. Even though like maybe incrementally it's not that much better.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's totally fair. I will admit, as we went and upgraded our phones a couple months ago, that was the line of thought. It was like, well, we have the iPhone 17 and it's really good. And it's like, but it doesn't have all the cameras
Right.
and it doesn't have as big of a battery. Oh, that's a good point. Maybe we should get the max. Let's get the max. All right, let's get the max,
Yeah.
Like that was our reasoning. Um, and so maybe it wasn't the smartest choice, but I don't regret it. That's me.
Yeah, I wouldn't have regretted it either had I
Yeah.
gone for it. So, but yeah, I I'm I'm kind of torn because I'm probably always going to get the flagship one just because that's that's me and I have terrible life choices. But mostly I think the base model would probably be reasonable enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's one area of my life where I'm like, one area of my life where I can improve, where I can say, I don't need the flagship model. I don't
Yeah.
need the top tier model. It's unnecessary. Um, anyway, I think that's really interesting. A lot of questions about phones. I'm going to shift gears here and ask you a question, about AI.
Ooh.
Um, there's so much hype around AI. Every business is throwing AI into their product. Every
Yes.
business wants to adopt AI in their business. The question I have is AI genuinely actually improving like everyday tech, or is it just hot air, hype, over marketing, everyone just jumping on the bandwagon of AI this, AI that? You know what I mean? What are your
Oh, this is
thoughts?
my hot take. I think it's just marketing hype at this point. And
Okay.
I think we've companies are going at it so far that it's not helping.
Mm,
For instance, people are putting AI in power supplies for computers. Why do we need that? Why do we need a robot vac or a vacuum, just like a stick vacuum that has AI? I don't need that. I don't need
yeah.
it to connect to the internet. I just need it to vacuum the floors.
Yeah. I just need to suck.
Yeah, exactly. So I I think there's too much. Companies are just throwing AI because if they think if they don't, they're going to miss the train.
Yep.
Which Apple
For sure.
has, for instance. I mean, they haven't really done anything with AI, and they've already missed the train. So I get that.
Hmm.
Um, but I think there needs to be some actual benefit that it's going to help with. And I think a lot of these companies, they aren't providing that benefit. Now, I will say there are some where AI is actually providing some benefit and helping out. Um, and so in those instances, I think, yes, that's improving everyday life. But I would say for the majority, it's probably just marketing. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree for the most part. I think a lot of people, I worked for a software company where they had what you'd call like smart features, which is where the software could make decisions based on the data it had. But I wouldn't say that's the same as AI. I think machine learning and AI are also different, but like just having smart feature sets doesn't mean you have AI. Just because you have a preconditioned decision tree based on certain attributions and characteristics, that doesn't really qualify in my mind as AI. in my mind, AI is like it can test and it can learn on its own,
Mhm.
and it can develop new intelligence on its own. And I don't think that's actually happening with a lot of companies, if any.
Yeah.
Um, I think maybe some of the most common large language models, maybe they have some intelligence factor of like memory, but is there really actual learning and new intelligence created from the memory that these LLMs have? I don't know. But for the most part, I think it's just a marketing gimmick and hot air. People will slap AI onto their product, even though the product really it's just like a decision tree.
Yeah.
It's like this isn't really AI. This isn't really learning. This isn't
No.
intelligent. This is just going through a pre-programmed like, is it this? No, then it's this. Okay, if it's this, then what is it here? Oh, if it's this, then go here. If it's not, then go here. And it does it really fast,
Yeah.
decision tree. And then it'll pull data memory based on the decisions to help fill in the next decision and then get you a result. Pattern, behavior, characteristics, it's all decision tree in my mind. I don't think it's actual artificial intelligence. So, am I upset about it? Not really, but like I am slightly annoyed by everyone just throwing AI onto it. Um, I think, like you said, people are afraid of missing the boat. They want to be on the boat. They want to be a front runner in their industry with the boat of AI. And I think it's coming to a point where like people are going to realize that everything's AI nowadays. And if everything's AI, then nothing's AI. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everyone's going to realize, oh, everyone just all the companies just slap AI onto their product marketing. It's not really AI. So I work with companies and businesses that slap AI onto their product, and I find it frustrating and somewhat annoying sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, pretty soon we're gonna have AI paper that it'll print
AI.
itself before it hits the ink on the.
Yeah. You make up a good point. Like there's way too many products that have AI that don't need it.
Yeah. And so you know, with that, I think there needs to be there needs to be a good balance.
Yeah,
Not everything needs AI,
agreed.
but people are they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and it it helps sell the products. I mean, nowadays it's almost like people won't buy a product that doesn't have AI.
Yeah, I know. And that's kind of dumb.
Yeah. All the new software, it needs to have AI in order for somebody to buy it.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to it kind of reminds me. I was talking to a buddy yesterday who's working on a startup, and he was like, people will buy your product um in a competitive landscape when there's other competitors there for a couple of different reasons. One, um, your product is easier and better to use, like user experience. Two, the price is cheaper, more affordable. And three, the other reason is it has like all the new bells and whistles, like feature sets. And I think a lot of people are leaning in on the AI world and using that as like a new feature, new bell and whistle.
Mhm.
And so they slap it on there like, oh, our software now has AI feature set. It's like, does it though? But that's what the world wants to see. They want to see everything with AI.
Yeah.
So
So, um, well, I think our last question, um, is a gaming headset better than headphones and a separate mic?
mm, okay. My initial answer for this is a gaming headset better than headphones and a separate mic. My initial answer is no. I don't think a gaming headset is better. Um, and I think for a couple different reasons. Even if your microphone and your headset that are separate, even if they're both USB, I still think they're better than a gaming headset. I think a gaming headset can be very convenient because it's plug and play. You have all your dials and everything right then and there, depending on the level of headset you have. And there are a lot of cool convenience factors in a gaming headset. I have a gaming headset with its mic and, you know, I think it works awesome, but I think quality wise, you can get much better quality by using, sorry, excuse me, by using a separate gaming headset and mic, having them be separate.
Hmm.
Now, that's not even, I haven't even like talked about having like an audio mixer. Like if you don't have a USB plug-in, but you have like a plug into like an audio mixer, you can even get better quality, extremely good quality of audio in your recordings or gameplay or whatever it might be. Um, and so I just think if you're going to get serious and you're an audiophile, you want to invest in a good headphones and mic setup. But I think most people who play video games aren't that concerned about their audio and their like mic sound, and so they just use regular gaming headsets. One last thing that I'll plug in for the gaming headset side. I think it's easier to connect with friends if you're on console with a gaming headset. Um,
Yeah.
Headphones with a mic, separate mic, is much more difficult to like try and connect with your friends on console. So
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, like consoles, it's not easy to do that.
yeah. What are your thoughts here?
Um, I think it depends on a person's budget. Um, I would say
Okay.
like if your budget was $100 for peripherals, I think probably a gaming headset is probably the way to go
Yeah.
because you get the headphones and the mic, it's all in one, kind of plug and play, you're good. But if you have a little bit more to spend, I definitely am with you. Microphone and some headphones are a lot a lot better. You'll get a better
Yeah.
sound quality. Your voice will also come through a lot better. I mean, even all of these headsets that are like extremely expensive, still can't match the quality of a good pair of headphones. And
Yeah. Very true. Yeah, I've spent a decent amount of money on my headset and it's nowhere near the same quality. And I just have a USB mic. I don't plug any of this into like a mixer or anything.
yeah, so yeah, I think it all kind of depends on your budget. But for the most part, if I had to choose, if money weren't an issue, I'd be going with microphone and a good pair of headphones.
Agreed. Yeah, for sure. Um, what headset would you get?
Ooh, um, I think for like headphones, I would go with um probably some I think Sennheisers.
Yes. Yeah, Sennheisers.
Yeah, they have some they have some real good quality ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is Sennheiser? They're a German company, right?
yeah,
Yeah. I think those are the ones that I would probably go after. A model of theirs.
yeah, and like their headphones are more than I could ever fathom. They're they're quite up there.
Yeah, they're not cheap, that's for sure. I'm looking
But
at a couple right now.
but they have an amazing sound, and every review that I've heard from like audiophiles says that they're um, some of the best
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
with, especially for like editing videos and whatnot as well.
Yeah. I've heard the same. A lot of gamers I know that play on PC have switched to Sennheiser.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Um, there's also been like a new wave of like um, in-ear monitors that like musicians have when they're playing on stage. So like
Oh, really?
a lot of gamers have like moved to those.
With like it's like the little hook that goes right here and it goes in.
Yeah.
I actually that's a good point. I have seen that recently, actually. And I'm kind of surprised by that, but if the quality's good, why not, right?
Hmm. Yeah. So I'm not sure if that would be a better experience than the over ear head.
Yeah, I'd love to try them out sometime. I'd love to check them out. That'd be kind of fun. Test them out and play with them, see what they feel like, see what they hear like, what the sound is like. So yeah,
Maybe we
interesting
should give it
stuff.
a test run
Maybe we should. Yeah,
for
review
science.
for science, business expense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I like that. All righty. Well, we want to thank everyone for joining us. Yeah, give us a thumbs up if you like it. It really does help out our channel. If not, that other button seems to work out all right as well. Make sure you send this to somebody you dislike. As always, ring-a-ling that ding-a-ling button so you never miss out on any content as it's posted on the channel. Until next time, stay classy and have a great evening.
Peace.